Don Cornelius with the Lockers and Fawn and Shabba-Doo.
Back in the day, I mean, I don't think it's exaggeration. 8 out of every 10 black families, that was what Soul Train came on Saturday afternoons.
Looking, was at it.
You had to watch Soul Train. I mean, that's where everybody you go to 8 houses.
Everybody
watching
Soul Train.
Yeah.
That's
Number one. I mean, Soul Train was huge.
Yeah, that was a big show.
Huge. All over the world.
That's right.
Huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
A guy who became famous here in Detroit, rapper, God rest his soul, Proof. I didn't know his father was actually in the music industry.
Of course, McKinley Jackson. McKinley Jackson and the politicians. When I got out of school, me, McKinley, and his brother Butch, we worked a club on Woodward called The Village. And that's when I decided that this was what I was going to do, because I got in there one weekend and I started working and they were there. And when I left The Village, I went to D-Town with Mike Hanks. That's where I started working in the studio with McKinley Jackson. And so for that whole first year, I worked the Village. McKinley worked The Village. Richard Street, Mitch Ryder, who was Billy Lee at that time, he came down there and he and I got an apartment down on Brush and Watson. And he would stay down there and boom, he was singing with me in a group called the Peps. And one weekend we came in there and the guy said, well, Billy Lee won't be here this weekend because he's going to New York. Oh, well, you got a gig? He said, yeah, that producer came and got him. After that, it was history for him. He was huge.
Wow.
You know, I mean, this life has been from the Brewster Projects, from Black Bottom, I had no real say, but I remember the years and the time I spent there. But the Brewster Projects, you knew, and Butch lived right off the Brewster Projects.
So you must have known 5-0, bro.
Of course.
Yeah. Like I say, like George,
I had to change my life. I could have been, I mean, if I hadn't had music in my life,
you'd have been in jail with Eddie and Daddy and
I'd have been in jail long before that.
And like I say, you understand, it's a lot, like New York, it's always been known, you understand, it's like a seaport town, like London. Right. So like I said, you got all type of nationalities in places like that. But I don't care what nobody say. And I've been all over the world. As far as during that time, Detroit, they didn't produce more hustlers than anywhere in the United States, and I could be wrong.
No, you might not. That era.
I'm talking about on a whole. I'm talking about.
When you show that paper that you had over there, of some of those guys on there, they weren't, I mean, those guys hustling and still being, I mean, right now today, you see so much corruption in government. So much corruption in people in big places. We were on the bottom. We were at the bottom of somebody was doing good, okay, it ain't me, I ain't doing it, but I know them, and when I got out of jail, one of the first people that I interviewed with was Dick Clark, and it was about how easy it was for somebody that's well known and in entertainment and in so many places can meet and be around so many different kind of people who were underworld, and he referred to Frank Sinatra. He said, Frank Sinatra, how come he never went to jail?
And all he did was hang on. He was with the mob.
Right.
I say, so a lot of my friends came from out of the Brewster Projects, and they didn't originate anything. They hustled, And one thing that I always knew and liked about Eddie Jackson was that at the end of that killing, it was no guns and all that kind of crap, And he would come and we'd talk. He'd pick me up, have Butch come and get me. We'd talk and say, hey man, Joe Pep, you need to be cool. And after we got into the thing and we called Butch when I got out, Butch said, wait a minute, Eddie want to talk to you. He said, Joe Pep, what the hell are you doing? You ain't no damn dope dealer. I said, man, they picked me up. And then soon as I got locked up, the first thing they asked me, Eddie Jackson.
Wow.
First thing. Yeah. So I knew that they familiar with everybody before they do anything. So however they targeted me, when I got out of jail after I did 18 months, my parole officer, I had 5 years parole. After 2 months, he said, man, don't come down here no more. You don't have no business coming here. You know, I said, so that's the only way that I'm gonna get some relief, because I couldn't. 3 times in 18 months, I went to before the board to get an early release. And like a sucker, I'm running in there knowing they're gonna let me out.
And speaking of the connection, you said when this all gets wrapped up, you see Frank Nitty Usher.
So Frank Nitty, yep. When it was bringing me out of the building, because I couldn't tell what was going on. I knew somebody had gotten shot, but the helicopters were all around now in LA, how they come around the building.
And Reno got shot that night too.
Now, so wait a minute, let me get that part. Did Reno get shot the same night as Butch Harris?
That was the shooting in that thing.
In the same apartment.
They was in the same apartment.
But Reno survived his shooting.
Yeah, he jumped out the window
And went over a balcony.
and fell to the next floor balcony.
So he
That's the
survived.
only thing. That's the only thing he saved him.
Butch Harris died.
Died. Shot him too many times for it to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Never. If they'd probably examined that gun, they'd say he had it. Probably was, unless they should pull it. But I understood he was asleep.
And then,
They didn't know. Somebody opened the door for them, let them in, and they came in shooting.
and to show you understand there was some shady after you understand Reno, you understand he recovered. He came back to Detroit. And every time he come, me and him get together. We was on the way to Stokes after our joint on Shane and Forest. And the police, you understand, they ambushed him on 75 in Canfield, and they shot him up again. But he made it to the joint, and they called the ambulance, and that was the second.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big Boss Filmworks and Big Boss Books presents Courtney Robert Brown Jr.'s follow-up to the book Motown Mafia. Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus.
My internship was kind of in how the world of international finance and international criminal activities overlap.
Corey Black Sr. wanted Corey to go to school to bring legitimacy to the family, but Corey had other plans. While in college, with the help of his friends and his girlfriend, he starts and grows a successful drug operation.
5 minutes later, 2 agents, now I know they were agents, but at the time I see 2 guys go to the right, another 2 guys start walking towards me. They stop at my seat and they go, grab your bags, DEA, come with us. Needless to say, this is not the fun part of being an intern.
Corey finds himself conflicted with his responsibility to running the family business and his obligation to his college studies. However, he'll have to make things work in his favor if he wants to remain the big man on campus. The names have been changed to protect the guilty and the innocent.
And I'm taking economics and business 101 and marketing, and your economic teacher's telling you about a business plan and how you get a small business loan. And it's kind of the hypocrisy of the world, because I'm like, that ain't how the real world works.